Welcome to the Leading Edge Podcast with Eric Thompson.
Inspire, perform, profit.
Well, hey there, everyone. It's Eric. Thanks so much, as always, for tuning in to the Leading Edge Podcast. I hope you like our fancy new intro. And I guess we're official now that we have a fancy intro, now that we're at 6 episodes. We are officially a podcast, a real live podcast, and just appreciate you tuning in. So this one is called Predicting Success. All right, so that's the title of this one. And this one has my lessons on what I've learned after interacting with lots and lots and lots of realtors over the course of my career, which is now 25 years. 2019 means I've been in this biz, in the real estate biz, for 25 years. So if you were to really boil it down as to what I've learned about realtor success, you're going to hear all about that in this podcast. And it really comes down to 3 things. So this, what we're going to talk about here, this lesson is based on the philosophy that success leaves clues. All right. So I've learned that. I've heard that from lots of people, like Tony Robbins talks about that a lot. And I just so believe in that, right? So success leaves clues. So if you were to watch people who are having success, if you were to follow them around for a day or for a week, you would notice some things, right? So you would be getting some clues as to why they're having that success. And success could mean money success. It could mean, fulfillment in life success. It could mean family success, whatever that is. You're going to see some clues that they're leaving behind, all right? So one thing that's been true about my career, the 25 years, is I've been really lucky to have 2 things happen. Number one, first thing I'm lucky about is that the companies I've been associated with and working for, or affiliated with, have one thing in common. They are full of really productive real estate agents. So one thing that is kind of a shame about our industry is that there are a lot of agents out there who are not very productive at all. And I've been lucky to be associated with companies who are full of like high-flying, really, really productive people. So I've been able to, watch them, observe them, learn from them, train them, coach them. And so I've been picking up their clues along the way over these 25 years. The other thing that has been lucky about my career is I've been able to travel a lot and get to know realtors outside of the companies that I've worked with, and also even outside of my area. So I live in Colorado, and just because of some really fortunate things that have come along for me, I've been able to travel around a lot outside of Colorado and meet realtors in other companies and other places who are also high-flying, highly productive, highly successful people. Again, they're leaving these clues. So what hit me back a few years ago, based on these experiences that I've had, is that I could really predict someone's success with 3 questions. So I get to travel to a lot of conferences and seminars, and again, I get to meet other realtors, and it hit me that I could really predict any realtor's success with 3 questions based on all these clues that I've picked up. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to walk you through those 3 questions, and what you're going to see is that if you want to have success as a realtor, or even in your life, you can just do these 3 things. Okay, so do these 3 things, and you're going to have success. And we're going to specifically tie it to success as a realtor, and you have to do just these 3 things. So as you hear these questions, one thing, and if you just want to kind of see them through my eyes, or hear the answers through my ears, one thing that's in common with all 3 questions is I wait for the answer. Is I just wait first to see if they have an answer. Okay, so just keep that in mind as we go along here. So in this hypothetical situation, I run into a realtor, I meet them for the first time at some seminar or conference. Maybe we're sharing a beer at the end of the day, and I'm just visiting with them, and I ask them these 3 questions. The first thing I'm wondering about is if they have an answer in the first place. All right, so let's just tie that to the very first question. So the first question that is fun to ask is just to say, hey, can you walk me through your daily routine? Just kind of tell me about your daily routine. So again, the first thing I'm wondering about, the first thing I'm looking for is if they have an answer in the first place. So if I get a blank stare, then that's kind of a red flag, right? If they're on accident most days without like a specific routine, then I know I may not, be in front of someone that's having lots of success or lots of fulfillment in their business. However, if I do get an answer and a very specific answer, this is what I tend to hear. All right. So I tend to hear a few things as it relates to someone's daily routine. So if I say to them again, hey, just curious, can you walk me through your daily routine? I'd be interested to hear about that. The first thing, when they do have a specific answer, the first thing I tend to hear is they're getting up at the same time every day. So they may say, oh yeah, I'm up at 5:30 every day, or 6 every day, or 5 every day, or even 7, whatever it is. Like the time doesn't matter as much as the fact that they know that there's a certain time they wake up every day. And so that creates some certainty in their life, right? They know the time that they're going to wake up and get out of bed. So for me, my alarm goes off at 5. I tend to hit snooze once or twice. So I'm out of bed by, either 5:09 or 5:18, right? Because there's the 9-minute snooze. So for me, I know what time I'm going to wake up and what time I'm going to get out of bed. The other thing I hear, the next thing I hear from them are specific things that they do each and every morning. I'm probably going to do a separate podcast on the morning routine itself, but I'll tell you that these people that have success, they own their morning. They absolutely own their morning. There are certain things that they're doing each and every day to build up their mindset. Commonly, I'm hearing about reading or watching like inspirational videos or educational videos. They're journaling, they're writing affirmations. They're doing things like that to really get their mindset in the right place to kick off the day. There's exercise in the morning. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And there are some things that I don't hear them doing first thing in the morning. So highly fulfilled, highly successful realtors, I'm not hearing about how they get on their email first thing in the morning. I'm not hearing how they love to turn on the news, first thing in the morning. No, I hear that they're writing handwritten notes and reading a really great business book or a great mindset book, right? They're not polluting their brain with all that negative things that are going to live on the news or even inside their email. All that stuff can wait. There's a time and a place for that. So they really take ownership of what they're doing in the morning. The next thing I hear from them is they'll say, yeah, and then I usually get to the office by X time. So they're telling me about a time that they're usually into the office, which is telling in and of itself, right? Meaning that they get to the office and they know they're there by a certain time. So again, there's some certainty in their life there. So they're getting to the office at a certain time. And then I'll hear things and I'll hear sentences that tend to start with, usually I have blank, right? So they'll say, usually on Mondays, I have my phone calls out to my clients who are under contract. I like to get in touch with them. Usually on Tuesdays, I'm at the sales meeting. Wednesday is my day to, fill in the blank. So they can, not only do they have a daily routine, but they can tell me about specific things that tend to happen on specific days of the week. And I'm not necessarily hearing like this super regimented lockdown thing, right? It's not like this onerous, really, really hardcore schedule, but there is a routine. There's a pattern that's built in that's predictable for them. And they tend to know what happens on certain days of the week. All right. I mentioned exercise before. That's something that comes up just about every time as I'm visiting with someone who's having a lot of success and lots of fulfillment. That at some point in their day, they're getting exercise. Often it's in the morning, but not always. A lot of people I know just aren't into working out first thing in the morning. And so if it's not first thing in the morning, they'll tell me about how before they go home and at night or in the evening, they'll hit the gym and then head home. Also, when we talk about exercise, I'm not necessarily hearing that they're doing super vigorous exercise. It could also mean, just going for a walk. So whether it's something super vigorous, like, throwing big weights around or going to the Zumba class, or it's, every day I like to take a walk through a neighborhood. I like to take the dog out for a walk. I walk with my friends, whatever it is, they're moving their body, right? So that's the point. Every single day, they're moving their body, they're getting their heart rate up even just a little bit. That's something that happens all the time. And then the last thing I hear regarding routine is they tell me about routine as it comes to their friends and family. All right. So if they have family living with them at home, they will tell me about that as part of their routine. They'll say, you know what, I commit every evening to be home by 5 or 5:30 or 6 or whatever it is. We always have dinner together at home. And then I oftentimes have to jump back on my computer in the evening just to kind of tie up some loose ends before I go to bed. But I really commit to that evening time with my friends or family. And I hear things again like, we always have dinner together. So that is built in just as part of their routine, part of their program, part of their expectation about every single day that they're going to have that time with their friends and family. I know lots of you do this, and I just celebrate that. It's awesome. We do it in our family every single night, and I mean every single night we have dinner together, the four of us. So Julie and I and the girls, we commit to having dinner together. I'm lucky that Julie cooks about every night, which means that I do dishes about every night. That's kind of our deal. That's how we share that. And then we sit down together, have dinner, and no screens allowed, right? So we're not bringing our phones or anything like that to the table. We just commit to sitting together and talking. And it's never much more than even a half hour, but we cherish that 30 minutes together. So that again is part of the routine. So that's all question number one that I asked that you could ask, in this hypothetical situation. You meet a realtor for the first time. You're wondering about their success and kind of results that they're getting and kind of fulfillment that they have. The first question is, hey, can you walk me through your daily routine? You want to hear an answer, and those are the kind of things that you'd want to hear. The second question I'll ask is this one. Second question is, can you tell me how many people are in your database, or how many people are in your sphere of influence, right? How many people are on your list, so to speak? Again, what I'm looking for is if they have an answer in the first place. Do they have an answer? If they give me a blank stare, huge red flag on this one, huge red flag. Compared to if they say, oh yeah, well, I have 172 people that get my newsletter every month, or I have 305 names in my database. So what I'm looking for is a super specific answer, which tells me that they have a system in place to manage all those names, right? So they have some kind of system. It doesn't really matter what it is, but they have some kind of system in place to manage all those relationships. So here's something fun I like to do when I'm coaching or training, hosting a workshop to a large group of realtors. I'll say to them, all right, so who's a business owner in the room? And just about every hand will go up that, they realize that they're a small business owner, right? They're an entrepreneur. And I'll say, all right, if you're like really any small business owner, you think about, well, maybe one day I would sell my business, right? So, just think about the local shops around where you live, where you work. Think about those businesses. Think about the people who own those businesses. They're probably wondering about and thinking about, one day I may sell my business. And so for the realtor, what is it that they would sell? What would they sell? They don't have really brick and mortar to sell. They don't have like equipment to sell. So what is it that they would sell if they were to sell their business? Well, the thing that they would sell is their database, right? So they would sell the actual database. They would sell that list. And it may sound kind of cold, right? That you're selling. You're not really, selling these people, but you're selling like the list of people is the asset, is my point. That's the asset in the business. So if that is your asset, you want to take really great care of it. And so the value of your business is really tied to how well that database is organized. So when someone can tell me about a specific number of people in their database, in their sphere of influence, on their list, then I know they have a really great system in place to manage that and keep track of that. The other thing I know about their income potentially is that, quite simply, their income is directly tied to how many people who are on that list. Most markets across the country tend to have a 10% turnover rate, meaning if you think about a hypothetical neighborhood of 100 homes, 10% of those homes will sell in a year. And that's based on research from National Association of Realtors, which shows that the average homeowner stays in their home every 10 years. So 10% of all homes are turning over every year. So if they know 100 homeowners what we know is that 10 of those people are going to sell their home over the course of a year. So if you want to earn more income as a realtor, you just need to know more people, right? It really comes down to that. So if someone only has 20 names on their list, but they want to have 50 transactions in a year, it's like Houston, we have a problem, right? There's a mismatch there. So there must be a relationship between the number of people on their list in their sphere relative to what their goal is. All right. So that's the second question. How many people in your database? I want an answer. And it tells me that there's a system in place. And also if there are enough names there, I know that they're getting some success because of you need a certain amount of names to have a certain number of transactions. Okay. Number 3 question. This one's always fun to ask. And that question is, all right, awesome. You just told me how many people are in your database. Can you walk me through how you stay in touch with them? So the question again is, can you walk me through how you stay in touch with the people who are on your list? Again, what do I want? I want to hear an answer, right? I want to hear a really specific answer. If I get a blank stare, that's a red flag. That's a problem. So the value of the business is not only relative to how well organized the database is, it's certainly relative to how good of a job we do at staying in touch with the people on our list and how systemized we are at that. So here's what I love to hear when I ask that question. So as opposed to the blank stare, I don't like to get that. What I love to hear is the person says, oh yeah, that's easy. Every month I send out my printed newsletter. And then in addition, every month I do an electronic newsletter that's really more like left brain. It's full of lots of stats, whereas my newsletter is kind of a balance between left brain and right brain kind of things. Also, every single week, I connect with 2 of my clients over coffee or lunch. It's just like a set thing that I do. It sits in my schedule as a recurring appointment. My only mission is to fill those appointments and connect with 2 clients every single week. And those tend to be my best clients, like the ones who are most likely to send me referrals. It's my very best relationships. They're oftentimes my good friends. So twice a week, without fail, I'm having coffee or lunch, unless I'm on vacation, obviously, or something like that. But without fail, I'm doing that. In addition, I send out every single week, 2 real estate updates or CMAs to my clients. That way I touch about 100 people a year with these CMAs. And then on Thursdays, I'm always making phone calls out to them just to follow up. Let them know what I found when I put that research together, see if they have any questions, catching up about the family. So I make those calls on Thursdays. And Thursdays, by the way, are also the day that I set my appointments for my coffees and lunches, all right? And then once a year, I do a big client appreciation event. We have fun with that, and it's like a summer barbecue kind of thing that I do. I always do that once a year. And then, one other thing, around Thanksgiving, I always deliver Thanksgiving pies to all my clients. So that's pretty much what I do. So can you see that, how powerful that answer is? So whether you're doing those exact things or not, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that you actually have an answer, that you have a system in place, and there's a lot of clarity about what happens each and every month. So there's no guessing about what you're going to do for marketing, what you're going to do for your client interaction when each month goes around. What's super powerful and really important is that you have a ton of clarity about that. So again, if I get a blank stare on this, if it's, it's kind of hit or miss. It really depends on how much time I have. I try to get out a postcard every once in a while, but sometimes I just don't have the time in the day to get that done. I've thought about maybe trying a client event, but haven't really got around to it. Might be nice. I've done, do some just listed postcards and that kind of thing. Like if I'm getting an answer like that, where it's very hit or miss, it's sporadic, there's no commitment, there's no clarity, huge red flag. So take that to the opposite extreme when someone can tell me exactly what happens each and every month and in each and every week in terms of how to stay in touch with clients. That is fantastic, right? That's thumbs up. Then I know I'm in front of someone who's having a lot of success in their business. So again, what does this come down to? Just 3 things. This is super easy. They're just 3 things. Number 1 is have a routine. So if I were to ask you, can you walk me through your routine? Do you have an answer? Just build some routine into your day, especially relative to the morning. Second, how many people in your database? So get your database organized, get the contact information in that database for your clients, find something that's really user-friendly for you to use, get that database dialed in. Then number 3, can you walk me through the ways that you stay in touch with those people? So just build the ways, and it doesn't have to be overly complicated. Lots of resources for you out there. Just build out the ways for you to stay in touch with your clients. All right. So again, those are the 3 predictors of success. Success leaves clues. I see these 3 things in common with the highly successful, highly fulfilled realtors that I interact with. I hope, if I haven't met you before, I hope to meet you soon. I hope you can have some awesome answers to that. If you want help with things like this, if you find the information in this podcast helpful, if you want to get these 3 things dialed in, I'd be happy to help you and happy to coach you through that. You are welcome to check out our coaching program, our monthly coaching program called The Leading Edge. All you have to do is go on over to jointheleadingedge.com. You can see all about that, how I help you get these 3 exact things dialed right in. So hopefully this helped you out, and look forward to connecting with you soon. And thank you so much again for checking out the podcast. Bye.